Hi, I, Thorkil Sohn, the author of this Catechism for Youth, has been a principal of a private secondary boarding school for 30 years, 26 of them at the same school, Husby Secondary School in Denmark. I have given about 1,200 storytelling lessons to teenagers about Christianity, among other things. Therefore, I think I know something about what young people think and understand, even though I am now retired. And young people think and understand more than you might think. This book is based on these experiences, the storytelling lessons, and the discussions I have had with my students, both in the lessons and in their free time. Thanks to the poor students who have been guinea pigs with this book almost completely voluntarily. They have contributed to many improvements, and thanks to everyone else who has seen the draft and given good advice, and thanks to God and everyone who has shaped me and thus the book. With kind regards, Thorkil Sohn, former headmaster, Bildtsvej 26, Ringkøbing in Denmark. And now the introduction to my many, I hope, young listeners, and maybe others. The book is written for Danish teenagers, so there is some references to Denmark. Of course, it will not be difficult to transfer this to your life and environment. Forgive me my poor English, it is not my native language. And now the introduction. A catechism is a precise book about Christianity. There is a great need for such a book. Even though Denmark is a Christian country, our knowledge is going downhill. Many people don't know much about it. That's why we hear a lot of nonsense about Christianity. And then foreigners have come to Denmark who are pagans. That's what Christians call everyone else, just like, for example, Muslims call Christians infidels. So we need to know what we believe in. I think you must be 17 to 18 years to understand this book. You may also be able to put yourself beyond any prejudices you may have, and there are no clever effects to make you stop changing the channel. There are thousands of opinions about everything, including Christianity. This book is about the kind of Christianity we have in Denmark. It was invented by Martin Luther, who lived over 400 years ago. He protested against the Pope and the Catholic Church, which in our opinion has many false claims. Among other things, the Pope believes he is God's representative, which is why one of his titles is God's Vicar, and he cannot be wrong when he speaks out on special occasions. And in Luther's time, people could get forgiveness for their sins if they paid money to the church. Around the world, those of us who agree with Luther therefore are called Protestants. We take Christianity seriously and protest against false Christianity and all kinds of paganism. In the Danish church we agree with Luther, and we agree with the message of the Bible, which is called the Gospel, which means good news. That is why our Protestant church is called Lutheran Evangelical. That is to say, Luther didn't invent anything at all. He just went back to the Bible and what the first Christians said. People had almost forgotten what Christianity was. We forget that all the time, by the way, because we prefer to decide for ourselves instead of believing in God. The book is not made to make you become a Christian. The book is for you who are baptized and who therefore are a Christian. You cannot become something you are, but you can learn more about it. The book is also not made to make you believe. We cannot make each other believe at all. That is the task of the so-called Holy Spirit. If I, once in a while, believe in God, it is God Himself, the Holy Spirit, who makes me do so. Therefore, we should not worry about other people's fate. That's God's responsibility. I also have enough to do with my own fate or lack thereof. We should therefore pretend that God always speaks to me never to the others. Even if we do believe the right thing, even if we do not believe the right thing, we should say the right thing, otherwise we will never believe the right thing. That is why this book pretends that Christianity is true. This is the best way to be precise, and you must never forget that when you read the book and think that it is too sure-footed and it is direct and without any pretense. That doesn't make it better. That is why we also get a little angry when we hear this book. The more excited I get, the more the book hits the spot. I don't like hardcore Christianity at all, until the day I stand with completely empty hands and cry for help, but then it is also the only thing that works. Nothing man-made is flawless. That is why I do not speak flawlessly about Christianity. I can only try, but I will always write something wrong myself. So this book is not flawless, only almost, I hope. If you can make the book better, and that is more correct and understandable about Christianity, then I would like to hear from you. And also about what you cannot understand, write to the mail in the description of the playlist. Then I can write a better book. If you disagree and want to make the book better by changing the meaning, I don't want to hear from you. Then you can write a book about your own fate. I have stolen from other books. If you stumble upon a brilliant formulation, it is not me who is brilliant. Most of the thefts are from the Bible, the Danish hymn book, Martin Luther, German, we must admit, Søren Kierkegaard, a wise man, Dane of course, Jens Christensen, who traveled to Pakistan to preach to Muslims, and by the way also Danish, half anyway. He was also American. And Grundtvig, he was Danish with a capital D. The book contains nothing new. It has all been said thousands of times, but each new generation must have it explained in the way we are programmed to understand. Chapter 1 is about paganism. That is when I want to find a meaning for my own life. Chapter 2 is about science. That is when I use my mind. Chapter 3 is about how I tried to avoid thinking about the meaning of life. Therefore, skip chapter 1, 2 and 3, both in the book and in your life, and go straight to chapter 4, Christianity. Chapter 2 is even forbidden to be heard unless you are one of the sharpest knives in the door and have used your mind to the utmost. Then you will seriously believe that there is no meaning to life at all apart from what we choose ourselves. That is where we end up when we use logic. If you are going to skip so far that you skip the entire book, there is nothing to be done about it. After all, there is nothing so bad that it is not good for something. Then you will at least not get any harm from the book. And this is the end of the introduction, and now in the coming time the chapters will come on this playlist. Thank you if you have listened. Thank you.